Call the meeting of the St. Cloud Metropolitan Transit Commission Board to order, and it is Tuesday, August 15th. It is 4:01 on my watch, so that clock is a couple minutes fast, so that was on time. Let the record reflect that we're all here with the exception of Sartell and half of St. Cloud. John Lippert not being able to be with us today, but we do have a quorum. Is there a motion to approve the, first of all, any additions to the agenda or changes?
No changes, no additions.
Okay. Any motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Yeah, you guys are going to be after the whole thing
We're
today.
ready. We got it.
Take turns.
Back and forth. We got it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion prevails. Consent agenda, items 5 through 8.
So move. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, the consent agenda is adopted. Open forum. Kim.
Okay, 2 or 3, how much time?
Go ahead.
Okay,
I'll cut you off. It's getting too long.
okay. This is about number 15, the preliminary levy. It's all about economic development. If we don't invest at the local share, we're going to continue to fall behind, and the St. Cloud regional area is competing with Rochester and Duluth. Rochester has sunk $65 million into their destination medical center transit project, and Duluth has put $10 million into their new transfer facility. And we're already falling behind, and we're going to continue to fall behind if we don't keep up with supporting transit. Instead of thinking of trying to change people's behavior to get them to ride, which I know that we've dropped about 30%, I think it's fixed route. Why don't we try to have a transit program that provides a service that people want to ride? So sort of a person-centered or customer-focused way of thinking. And if we invest more to improve the services, then it will result in additional ridership.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate the comments. Any other discussion or anybody else from an open forum? Seeing no one, we'll go on to general business, item number 9, which we have a little award presentation.
Chair, Commissioners, I'd like to recognize Pete Mugg for providing 40 years. Big 40. Wow, time flies when you're having fun, right? For providing safe, reliable, and friendly public transportation services to Metrobus and to the community that we serve. St. Cloud, Salt Rapids, Wake Park, and Sartell. Pete Mugg, thank you for your 4 years of service. And with that, I'd like to present you with this certificate.
I should mention Pete drove the trolley today, and so we had the historic tour. So you were up 40 years. That's most of the history that we have. It's great. On behalf of the board, thank you for your service. That's a long time. In today's society, there are very few people that have put that much time into an organization. And very proud celebrating our all those awards we have are people like you. So thanks. Congratulations. You can just take one of those buses home.
328. That'll be your bus. Yeah, 40 years ago, right? Well, come this way, Pete.
What do you got here with you today?
This is my wife, Kathy, Melina, and Melisha, my 2 youngest kids.
Well, welcome.
2 of 7.
Oh.
I didn't want to bring the whole crew in.
You have to get a CNC bus, right?
You must be second in line behind Merle.
Yep. Yeah, I
You
figured.
gotta stand next to this guy so I look good.
40 years.
I was a lot skinnier in those days.
Remember, there's that mirror
Oh,
there, and so I don't want to get a picture of the back of everyone's head. So.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Pete, this is your way.
Oh, yeah, it's your award.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buddy.
And just another step that way over. And
Now everybody go over there.
Yeah.
Back one more step.
So you gotta turn sideways, right?
40 years,
Oh,
you should get something more than have to come to one of our meetings.
you know me, I like to take a few.
Yeah. 3 times better.
It's a few.
One more. 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you.
Thanks again. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor.
Pete said he started when he was 10.
Yeah, thanks, congrats.
Thank you, guys.
We started before you weren't.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Just kidding.
I wish.
Me either.
All right, well, congratulations again. Thank you. General business item number 10, consideration of the personnel policy revision.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. In the packet, there is a proposed revision to Personnel Policy 704, Insurance. Right now, the policy that we have is pretty lengthy and somewhat confusing and inconsistent. It actually offers inconsistent benefits to our non-union employees depending on how they utilize the policy. So the proposal is to clean it up, make it much more clear, make the intent more specific, and to make it more consistent among the non-union employee group. So right now the policy already allows non-union employees to waive insurance if they have proof of existing coverage, and they can then either take 60%, up to 60% of what Metrobus would have paid for their insurance coverage through Metrobus and bring in invoices of other insurance coverage, and Metrobus pays the invoice, or they can take up to 60% as taxable earnings. What we're proposing is just to simplify it and say we're not going to collect people's invoices and pay them. We're just going to make it taxable earnings at that 60% for everybody. Any questions?
Is there anything we need to take action, or just give them that information? The policy revision that we have an
Says
action
approve
item?
revision.
Just didn't see, so that's in here, so.
I'll make a motion to
And a
approve the
motion to
revision.
approve that revision?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution done. Item number 11, Resolution 2017-13, authorization to purchase 5 Class 400 CNG paratransit vehicles and 3 Class 700 CNG fixed route vehicles.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We get to do all kinds of accounting things today, so I'm so excited. The resolution is for, again, 5 CNG paratransit 400, Series 400 vehicles and 3 Class 700 vehicles. They're both in the 2018 CIP to be approved. So this is, the resolution needs to be attached to our MnDOT application in order to get the 80% funding for those buses.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Is it approved?
Second.
Second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is adopted. Item under general business number 12, Resolution 2017-14, authorization to purchase 2 MCI diesel commuter buses.
This one is again to get the funding through MnDOT for the 80%. This item is not in our CIP for 2018 because that 20% funding is actually scheduled to be paid through Sherburne County Regional Rail Authority for the 20% funding piece of it, so it wouldn't be included in our CIP. So theoretically, 80% will come from MnDOT and 20% will come from Sherburne County.
Okay.
But we
Just
still
pass
need
through
for the application to.
funding. Okay.
What's that?
For the link.
Oh, yep, for the link, yep, for the link. So that also needs to be approved in order to request the funding from MnDOT.
That's good.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion to approve and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The resolution is adopted.
Great.
Item number 13, consideration of the 2018 cost allocation plan.
Commissioners, this is a change that happened last year. We have to start doing a cost allocation plan, submit that to MnDOT each year after you've approved it. we did in 2015, kind of sent to MnDOT our assumptions and analyzed kind of what we're going to be doing each year in order to come up with a cost allocation, and they needed to approve that. So this kind of goes into detail. The cost allocation changed by 0.1% between the three, fixed route, North Star, and Dial-A-Ride this year. It's just kind of based on the actual expenses. Fixed route last year was 60.2%. North Star was 7.1%. So that was kind of where the change came into effect there. So again, I just need approval for that in order to submit it to MnDOT for the application.
Move to approve.
Second.
I just one question I have on this is, are there like, I have no problem with this, but are there like national, how we compare cost allocation from different systems, and how do we compare in these numbers? I mean, is
All
there
transit
possible-
systems have to kind of calculate.
Is there a way we could it's just helpful, like kind of
Sure.
like to compare and see where, because these are numbers that when he puts it down to an hour and mile, these are things we don't understand. I know I can speak for myself, but this is something I can understand. Then where it comes down to how much it is per mile, it'd be interesting to see how it compares to other transit systems.
We're gonna get that to you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, resolution adopted, or plan is. Item number 14, consideration of 2018 preliminary operations budget and capital improvement plan.
So Commissioners, this just kind of, the memo kind of summarizes what we're looking at. In 2016 funds, we received 6 Dial-A-Ride buses, which we put into service this year. And now 2 additional Dial-A-Ride buses are going to be coming basically any day. I've heard the next couple of weeks they should be coming from the conversion for the CNG, and then they'll go to Monticello to be reviewed or inspected, and then we should see them here by the end of September. For 2017 funding, we have 6 Dial-A-Ride buses that we're funding the 80%, MnDOT is funding 80%, we're funding the 20%. And then as part of the expansion program that MnDOT offered earlier this year, they're funding at 100% 5 fixed route buses that we put into the purchase orders are just finalized, or being finalized right now. So we hope to see those probably in January. And again, those are 100% funded. And then the 3 MCIs, we should see the end of September, maybe October timeframe. Those are funded 80% by MnDOT. The MCIs are for North Star Link. And then Stearns County Regional Rail Authority is funding the 20% for those 3 buses. So again, that's 8 buses that we're getting 100% funding for, so that's great. And then we also purchased 2 street supervisor vehicles in 2017. All that was with CIP funds that have been approved last year. So for 2018, we're looking for the wages based on the discussion that we had in July with the board. Made some assumptions and kind of budgeted for that factor that we had spoken about. And then equal COLA was budgeted for the non-union, and that would include the steps for both union and non-union is to kind of lay out right now. Staffing, we made a few different changes. We changed the HR specialist, which had been a part-time position, to full-time. And then again, kind of just going through the training manager and the COO position were part of the funding that we received from MnDOT for 100% funding through June 30th of 2019. Health insurance, we were notified that it's going to be an increase of 2.1% for next year. And our pension, the Central States pension, is a 4% mandated increase. There's not going to be any change to the para rate increase for 2018. And then just the debt, which is our scheduled payment. Professional and technical services are down by $31,000 for 2018. Again, that's because of a hoist repairs that we're going to be doing this year, and that obviously we won't need to do next year then. And then the capital, which you had the CIP included, so you could kind of take a look at that. Some of that will be funded through federal funds, 80%, and some will be funded through state funds at 80%. And then in the CIP as well, there is money set aside for future local share for capital. So we kind of try to fit that in each year so that we, basically when our 23 buses come due, we're not going, oh my gosh, we've got a little bit of a savings there that we can deal with that, so we don't have to look at jumping the levy significantly in that year just to deal with those buses. So we're kind of put a little bit aside each year, and then we also put some money aside each year for capital CNG maintenance that's going to be coming due. So in 2015, a tax levy of 3.56 was approved, which equated to $2,463,267. That same amount was then again approved in 16, which brought the actual percentage of the levy to 3.29. And then we held that to $2,470,000 last year, which is 3.19%. And this year we're looking at keeping that levy the same again at $2,470,000. Just curious if you have any questions, if I can answer anything for you.
Oh, that has to be in by September 15th, like
The
everybody else?
preliminary does, yeah. The thing with it, so we'll have to bring it back again, but
For
obviously.
final budget.
Right, yeah. So
It just
the-
can't go above this now.
Right, but
Yeah.
the thing, our fiscal year starts October 1, so basically what's approved now is what we're gonna go with our budget. And then we would I would bring the final tax levy forward in December, but I won't bring another budget forward. We'll just assume that would be our final and keep holding the levy the same.
Okay. We'll do approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? We've had lots of discussion on this prior, on all aspects of this, I think. And so I'm not seeing any more. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously. So item 15, obviously, this is separate, but setting of the preliminary levy. And we don't have a requirement because of the timing for our budgets and everything. There's not a requirement for our entity to do any type of public hearing.
Yeah.
We had public comment, and appreciate that, Kim. And maybe in the future, and we don't have a requirement to do, as cities, a public hearing on the preliminary levy.
No.
But we are required under truth and taxation before we pass a budget. So we're not required on our budget anywhere ever as a joint powers. The school is, the cities are, and counties are in December, but that's because our budgets are on a calendar year. But we're not required to have any type of public hearing on. I don't recall us ever having one, but we're doing something different in St. Cloud. We started last year. We actually hold a public hearing on the preliminary levy because that's the one that makes sense. That's the actual one that means something because that's the tax, and then the budget one is required by the state in December, which at that point you've already set your levy. You know what you're going to be. People get their property taxes in November, but
We've never been required, and that's never in any audit or anything. Nothing's ever came up with that.
Is there a way that maybe in the future, I speaking for myself, I think it would be at one of those levels, having a public hearing, I think is, an option. We know that there's, but we had, it's the first time I've actually ever heard anybody comment on the budget. So I appreciate that. But maybe if we had a notice for a public hearing, we are property tax. We're collecting tax, and we're passing a budget that has a pretty significant effect on all of our jurisdictions. If there's a way to do that through a public hearing, in the future. I'm just speaking for myself. I just think it'd be nice to have that option for people.
Sure, we can start that next year if you
Yeah,
want.
would be, if there's a way to do that.
See what it says, see what the, you know.
Yeah, what the requirements
What-
are,
yeah.
but even on the
Right.
preliminary levy, I think it's nice to have an option for people to, and some people may not know they have the option, you know, it's a unique taxing jurisdiction, because
Yeah.
when we get our property taxes by the county, it shows all of the hearings that we have, but we'd already be done.
Right.
Because of the budget piece, but it would be nice to have, maybe just for our own purposes, send out a notice that, just like the notice for these meetings, that there's an aspect of that. I mean, you've usually, and I'm not saying there'd be a flood of people here, but if this was a different budget that was looking at a 10% increase, you know, maybe there would be, and we would have no option for people to weigh in other than through the, you know, open forum.
No, we can certainly do that.
If it's
moving forward.
possible, at least bring it back, then we can make a decision. I mean, we'd have to set the public hearing, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
as a board, but, okay, thank you. On the, did we vote on the preliminary levy?
Yep, we did, didn't we?
did on
Did we?
that. Okay, thanks.
We weren't gonna, we were gonna sneak out.
Yeah, we're waiting for that public hearing. All right, any further discussion on the setting the levy, for the preliminary levy? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries, it passes. Now, we don't actually then set a levy.
Who made the motion?
Nobody made a motion.
I know I
I
asked
did.
for, I just asked for him.
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. He said, yeah,
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah.
About 3 or 4 hours ago.
During my nap.
All right, well, we got it up to you. Okay, so that passes. So. Department updates. Garage addition and roof update, yeah.
Yeah, Commissioners, just a quick update on the progress there. The roof is just about complete. They've got all the roofing material down. They still have to put some ballast left on, but it's actually sealed up and everything at this point. Started installing the overhead doors, ran into a couple of glitches there that they've got to take care of before they can continue on with that. Nothing real major. Electricians came in today. They started, they're planning next week on doing blacktopping around that whole lot, around that area there. Right now, I know we were set up for September 1st completion. We might run over it a little bit because of a couple of glitches here with those doors and things, and we had some rain delays here before they got the roof done completely, so it pushed us back a little bit, but we're pretty close. I would say, you know, by this time next month for sure, we should be pretty well buttoned down, so. Floor, of course, has been poured. I think we had that poured by the time we had the last meeting already, if I remember right, so. Coming along pretty good, nothing major, so no big obstacles so far, so. That's about it.
Good. Any other updates or
No, not at this time.
information? Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Been moved to adjourn, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carries. We are adjourned at 26 minutes after 4.